All right, folks, an interview that's been a while in the making for me. This is Jack Antonio speaking at you from the shores of the Great Slave Lake, right up here in scenic northern Canada, bringing to you Stephen Pearcy. How are you doing, man?
I'm great. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Like I said, procuring interviews sometimes can be an arduous task, and I think I've been, trying to get this interview now for about 3 years. So it's nice to finally have you on the line. You are about to drop Smash January 27th, and through Frontiers Records. Where's the relationship with Frontiers? How did you, decide to hook up with those guys?
Well, I was in the process of putting out my own product, and it just so happened a year down the line, I ended up getting approached by Frontiers, and I thought, okay, this is interesting. Talked about some things, distribution, and I decided, okay, scrapped everything I was doing, the tracks, everything, and started a whole new process with Frontiers.
That's cool, and I think I saw that Beau Hill was in on one of the tracks as well, which was pretty cool. I would imagine now your relationship with Beau goes back quite a ways.
Yeah, with Beau, it was quite a different thing. He had come in and did I Can't Take It, which was from the previous session, and he did such a good job, and then I tried to get him involved in the later sessions on Smash, and he was really busy, so I kind of had to take it over myself, and we produced it ourselves.
Now, I think I remember reading somewhere along the line, though, that, you've learned a lot from Beau, like you're kind of, a student, or maybe a protege might be a bit of a stretch, but I mean, what are some of the things that you've learned in terms of your own approach as a producer when, creating your own album, your own work?
Well, Beau pretty much, he has his own system, so to speak, and it goes back to, back in the day. And I've never forgot what he was doing. The schematics and everything else that we worked by. So I just kept that in mind, and as I do all my stuff, except for, this record, I wanted it with not a lot of, overdubs and fillers and things like that, so we made it quite simple. We went at it in a simpler manner. And, hence the second song, Shut Down Baby. I mean, we just did the track, and it sounded amazing pretty much first couple takes. And then I went in to do the vocals because I was ready on it, and did the first lead tracks, first and second take. And we never had to go back to it, so we knew we were on to something.
Yeah.
So we just kept going.
I like how there's a bit of a Jimmy Page vibe on that Shut Down Baby. Not like, I mean, there is a Led Zeppelin-y vibe on it, but I mean, I'm almost thinking more of the modern type Jimmy Page work, like maybe almost like a Coverdale Page kind of vibe to it.
Yeah, we really didn't try to emulate or anything. We just kind of went at it, and did what we usually do, go in there and try to make it the best thing possible. And that's what I think we achieved, Influences are influences, but when it comes time to doing any song, we want to make it our own.
For sure. Yeah.
And I believe we did, I mean, somebody mentioned that thought something sounded like Alice Cooper, and I'm like, oh, that's a compliment. I grew up with these guys, Boys to Call, so that's all I can do, is just do the best I could, and I did.
You brought in, I think on that particular track too, you brought in Chris Hager of Rough Cut fame, if my notes are correct. I would imagine, again, the relationship goes a little ways back there too, eh?
Yeah, we go way back. I co-wrote that with him, and the rest of the songs, we pretty much, I co-wrote with Eric Farentino, our lead guitar player.
Yeah, like, I guess I should ask now, in terms of working with Eric Farentino, I mean, how does your process work normally there when you're working with him? Because I mean, over the years, you worked with a wide variety of great guitar players just within Ratt. So, how much of an adjustment is it to working with Eric, and how does Eric operate maybe, by comparison, and so on and so forth?
Well, Eric's one that writes whole songs, and Ratt, if it's not me writing the whole song, or maybe Juan, completing the whole song or something, and then I just go in and do the lyrics. Eric has a tendency to just write the whole music part, and he'll sometimes throw in a title, and it'll work so well with what I'm thinking.
Mm-hmm.
And, we tweak it here and there with the arrangements and stuff. And we just write very well together. I mean, we've been writing for, over a dozen years now, and it just gets easier and easier. We wrote so much music for this new record. I mean, it was incredible. Songs we thought that were going to be it. Like, this is going to make it. Something better would come along, and we would just start tracking that.
Yeah.
We really did want it to be cohesive, diverse, and just really different, even down to the subject matter, what I'm talking about. And, we have the fun songs on there, like Lollipop and stuff, but there's some pretty heavy subjects going on in there.
I think the original plan was you were going to release 3 or 4 EPs with this material on it, but then things got going with Frontiers, and then you were working with Eric, and the tracks were evolving slowly over time, and things were being tweaked and polished.
You're correct. And yeah, that was with the Sucker Punch sessions. We got like 4 songs out of that, and Bo actually remixed and mastered another song of ours, which, we'll save for later or something. But when it came to Smash and what we were doing, there was no stopping. We just went straight ahead, and didn't even hesitate. We were just constantly fixing, adding, and doing different things like keyboards and piano and some effects. And what I wanted was a lot more open space between, lyrics and music, like the EP or Cellar. And, we did accomplish it. We're very happy with the outcome.
I was just thinking, like, inevitably, though, I mean, because you're the voice of Ratt, there's going to be a little bit of that in there. And, what one quote I pulled was that, in particular, in the track 10 Miles Wide, I think the quote is that, Eric was sort of channeling Robin Crosby to a certain extent there.
Yeah, it was amazing, something like that. When he comes up with a riff like that, I just go, wow, we've got to do this. And, he said it himself. I think it was channeling Robin, and I go, well, you think? It sounds like something off the EP, And then the subject matter is pretty heavy. It's not about a relationship. It's an interstellar relationship, So, there's a lot going on there, and there's a lyric book in there, and I'm glad I did, because I don't like to put lyric books in music, because I like people to figure out things for themselves, whether they get the words right or wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But I like them to figure it out. But this one, it needed it, because there's so much being said in there.
Yeah, well, and you're planning to do a series of dates touring around this record too, which I think is really cool, considering things with Ratt are also heating up at the same time.
Correct. The Smash shows start next month, and I believe, and will continue up until July 2nd, and then we will, hang on to some offers, and then Ratt is going to do a few shows, and that's a whole different animal and process. So that's being taken care of with kid gloves. But Smash, I want particular shows. We're headlining shows, bigger shows. We're doing some other shows, and we always go where all bands fear to go. So it's irrelevant to us. We're going to play a bunch of songs off Smash, and we're looking forward to it.
That's awesome. Back in March of 2014, I had a really awesome chat with Carlos, and even back then he alluded to the fact that there was a little bit of writing going on. Now I don't know, I mean that's a pretty significant chunk of time since then, but I think maybe you and Warren have gotten together a little bit recently as well.
Yeah, probably a few weeks ago, a couple weeks back, and that's how it starts. He'll show me something, and I'll go, wow, what's that? I like that. Let's look on it. Or I'll come up with songs on my own and present them when we go into pre-production. When I write, I have a tendency to write everything, music and lyrics.
Mm-hmm.
With the other guys, it's piecing together the music and then me writing the lyrics. And it's been like that forever. But with the solo stuff, it's the same thing. I can bring in full songs, and except for this record, Eric was coming up with so much good stuff. It was undeniable what I was going to be working on. I knew right away, get rid of that. We thought that was really cool, but get rid of that. This one's 10 times better,
Yeah.
So that happened quite a bit.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's a very no filler kind of a record for sure.
Yeah, thank you.
and at the same time it's diverse, but then you can also you can hear the influences, and there's a big part of your own heart and soul definitely thrown in the lyrics, because you've been through a ringer yourself. I haven't had a chance to read your book, but I can I can well imagine.
Well, sometimes that comes into it. I think I'm over that. I'm talking about, underworld, above world, interstellar,
mm-hmm.
life, after this, that. I'm talking about, so many other things that I have found relative just to existence these days. Sobriety, I don't think has anything to do with it, or how we lived. I've already gotten all of that out of my system with other projects.
Yeah, well, I would imagine even just writing the book would be a catharsis in and of itself.
Yeah, I had to have people help me write that because I couldn't remember a good couple years there.
Yeah, I've read I've managed to read a lot of the quote unquote rock star books over the years. They're all great in their own way. So one of these days I got to get my hands on yours.
It would take 10 books to cover one tour. So I kind of just narrowed it down. I wasn't going to be specific. The next, I'm going to start working on another book towards the end of the year, and it'll be quite different, more about the music, people, places, and time, and maybe some fun stuff in there and some serious stuff, but it'll be quite different.
Yeah.
I'll exclude a lot of that crazy and get on to another subject, more meaningful,
Yeah. Well, now that's interesting, because the vibe that I'm picking up just in checking out a lot of the of the stuff that you've already done around this record is that you're moving forward now, right? I mean, not that we can't look back fondly on the past, but you seem to be, I don't want to say subversive about the whole, Ratt thing or anything, but there's a definite, okay, fine. How many more times can we talk about this? Let's just, you know what I mean?
Well, 100%. And that's because when you've lived it for so many years, and then years after, and then you lose, a right-hand man to the thing, to the way we lived. And you start thinking about more important things, especially in writing, especially if you're going to be talking about it.
Yeah.
There's only so, you can only be so personal on some subject matters. Not everything's about breakup and this, that, hot rods. And so on this record, I decided, I'm going to really go out for it. I'm going to talk about the evil in you meets the evil in me, time to angel me, and just different things, that I've learned over the years. Just existing, there's more to it. Some of us are a lot smarter than people think,
Well, you've got to have a certain amount of intelligence and, dare I say, genius just to, survive in the business as long as you have.
Yeah, and we're opted the opportunity to take time off too, and it's just the way it is. If you need time off, you're doing it for a reason nowadays, because we didn't have that opportunity back then to have time off. That was part of our downfall. Phase one. How many times can you beat a horse? Whether you're successful or not. I mean, we were getting platinum record plus every year. That's all great, but what it was doing to us mentally and physically was a whole nother ball game.
Yeah.
250 shows a year for how many years? 8 years, 9 years. And, I mean, I'd rather have big crowds than small crowds, but it's to me, it's irrelevant now. I can play in front of a few hundred, the next night play in front of 10, the next night play in front of 30. It's pretty much all the same to me. I just turn that switch and that guy goes on, and what he does is his thing,
I was just thinking now, a performer as seasoned as yourself, like what are some of the ways that that you keep your own personal act fresh?
Well, I mean, as of the last year or so, it's just, we tend to just, it's like we're going to war. We just throw on our gear, we get there, and then we don't waste a lot of time hanging around, and then we do our show, and then we pretty much leave right after.
So you're just in there, you're getting the job done, you're entertaining the fans, and I mean, which is obviously a major part of why you continue to do it. But it's more about having your own personal space and time, and I suppose that's something that comes with age too.
Well, sure, I mean, you can burn out or fade away. I choose to do neither one of those. I'll walk out of it and away from it before that happens.
Awesome, Stephen. Well, this was a great chat. Well worth the wait.
Well, I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Yeah, and hopefully the next time you got something going, we'll be able to have you back on.
You got it, brother. Thank you so much.